stop scrolling for a second and listen carefully, because what I'm about to reveal will completely change the way you understand women, love, and attraction. There's a secret that most men never notice, a hidden language that younger women speak when they are in love but too scared to show it. And if you miss it, you'll never understand the signals she's been giving you all along. She's not texting you as much as you want. She's not saying the words you're waiting to hear. She's pulling back, acting distant, or pretending everything is casual. And that's exactly what makes her love invisible to most men. But here's the shocking truth. Her actions are louder than any words, and the signs she's leaving are right in front of you. If you know how to read them, you can finally see the depth of her feelings before she ever admits them. By the end of this video, you're going to discover 6 undeniable signs that she's in love with you, even if she's too scared to say it. You'll learn how her energy mirrors yours, how she finds subtle ways to be around you, how her eyes reveal what she can't speak, how the tiniest details she remembers show her heart, and why her fear of vulnerability makes her pull back, but only because she cares. Most men never notice these signs, and that's why so many connections never develop. But you won't be most men. You're about to unlock the hidden patterns of attraction, the silent language of her heart, and the truth about what she really feels. Watch carefully, pay attention, and I promise, once you see these signs, you will never look at her the same way again. Let's start with something most men completely overlook, something so subtle yet so powerful that it reveals more than words ever could. The first sign that a younger woman is in love with you, but scared to show it, is the way she mirrors your energy. Now, you might be thinking, what does that even mean? How can someone mirror my energy without me noticing? But that's exactly the point. Mirroring isn't loud, it's quiet, it's unconscious, and it's one of the deepest forms of emotional connection that exists between two people. Think about it for a moment. Have you ever been in a conversation with someone and suddenly you realize that their expressions, their gestures, even the tone of their voice somehow matches yours? It's not imitation, it's resonance. She reflects your mood because her emotions are linked to yours. When you feel joy, her smile appears almost naturally. When tension creeps into your voice, she becomes alert, hesitant, almost as if she's bracing herself with you. This isn't coincidence. This is her heart paying attention in ways you don't even recognize, because she's afraid to say it out loud. What's fascinating about this is that it's instinctual. Psychology calls it emotional contagion. We naturally pick up on the emotions of people around us, especially those we care about. But when a woman is secretly in love with you, this effect intensifies. She doesn't just notice your feelings, she experiences them with you. And she does it subtly, cautiously, because she's scared of being rejected, scared of being misunderstood, scared that if she shows too much, she might risk what she already values, your presence, your respect, your attention. Here's where most men miss the signs. They expect love to be obvious. They expect declarations, confessions, messages that scream affection. But the reality is the most profound connections are often quiet. Mirroring is quiet. It's the way she subconsciously leans into your energy, the way she adjusts her body language to align with yours, the way her laughter rises when yours does and softens when your mood softens. It's a dance of emotions happening beneath the surface, invisible to those who aren't paying attention. You might wonder, how can I tell the difference between simple politeness and mirroring that signals love? Here's the key, it's consistency combined with depth. If her gestures, her expressions, her tone, and even her subtle movements repeatedly echo yours over time, it's not coincidence, it's attachment. When a person unconsciously mirrors another's energy consistently, it means her nervous system is responding to yours. She is internalizing your presence, your state of mind, and your emotional rhythms. And that, my friend, is intimacy in its purest, most powerful form. But there's more. Mirroring is not just about imitation, it's a signal of empathy and connection. When she mirrors your energy, it's her way of saying, without words, that she wants to be in sync with you, that your experiences matter to her, that your inner world is significant to her own. She's signaling love in a way that is both fearless and fragile. Fearless because it's instinctive, fragile because she's doing it without permission, without explicit consent, trying not to reveal the depth of her feelings until she feels safe enough to do so. And this is why understanding mirroring is so crucial. Most men misread this entirely. They mistake it for friendliness, for casual attention, or worse, they don't notice it at all. But if you start observing carefully, you'll notice it in tiny moments. The way she matches your pace while walking, the way her gestures echo yours during a conversation, the way she tilts her head when you tilt yours, even without realizing she's doing it. Each tiny reflection is a whisper from her heart, a silent admission that she's emotionally entwined with you. Think of it like a mirror, but not just any mirror, a mirror that doesn't just reflect the surface, it reflects the soul. When she mirrors your energy, she's creating a connection at a level that words can't reach. And the beauty of it is that it's mutual. Your energy influences her, and hers influences you. It's a delicate subconscious dance where both of you are in tune, even if neither of you is consciously aware of it. And when she's secret, fly in love, that connection is intensified. She's attuned to your happiness, your tension, your joy, your fatigue, because she feels it with you. Now, here's the part that will shock many of you. She might not even be aware of how much she's giving away. Her heart is doing it without her conscious permission. She might chastise herself for laughing too loudly at your jokes or for feeling anxious when you seem distant. She might chastise herself for feeling joy when you're happy or disappointment when you're hurt. She's trying to protect herself while simultaneously revealing everything. And that tension between fear and love is what makes mirroring such a powerful, unmistakable sign. So here's what you need to do. Start noticing. Observe the subtle ways she mirrors you. Watch her reactions to your moods. Listen to the way her voice modulates with yours. Pay attention to her gestures, her posture, her expressions. Don't expect words. Don't wait for a confession. Instead, tune into the silent signals she's sending every single day. Mirroring is love disguised as attention, and once you recognize it, everything changes. You'll see her for who she really is, and you'll understand the depth of her feelings even before she admits them. Remember, love isn't always declared loudly. Sometimes it's shown in the quiet, unconscious ways we resonate with each other. Mirroring is not just imitation, it's a reflection of the soul reaching out, desperate to connect, but scared to be vulnerable. It's subtle, powerful, and often overlooked. And that's why most men never notice it. But if you do, if you truly pay attention, you unlock a window into her heart that most people will never see. So here's the truth to carry with you. Her energy is already speaking. It's already telling you what words cannot. And the moment you recognize it, the moment you tune in, you'll understand something most men never will. Love doesn't always need a confession. Sometimes it just needs someone will. Aim to see it, to feel it, and to respond to it. And when you do, you don't just see love, you experience it deeply, silently, and unmistakably. The second sign that a younger woman is in love with you, but too scared to show it, is that she finds subtle ways to be around you. And when I say subtle, I mean almost invisible if you're not paying attention. This isn't about grand gestures or overt declarations. This is about the quiet persistence, the small patterns, the tiny nudges she creates to keep herself in your orbit without ever risking exposure. And this is where many men completely miss the truth, because they are looking for signals that scream love instead of whispers that speak volumes. Think about the way she might initiate contact, not directly, not forcefully, but casually. A text that seems random, a question that seems innocent, a comment that appears spontaneous but is carefully timed. She's creating opportunities to engage with you, to share moments, to stay close, without revealing the depth of her feelings. And if you notice this over time, patterns emerge. She's not present by accident. She's present by intention, even if her intention is wrapped in fear. What's fascinating about this is how she balances desire with caution. She wants to be near you, but she also fears the consequences of revealing her heart. So instead of coming forward openly, she creates these subtle connections. She might suggest running into you at a place she knows you'll be, or linger in conversations a little longer than necessary. She might comment on your social media posts, seemingly casual, but with careful thought behind every word. Each small interaction is a breadcrumb, a silent trail leading back to her interest. She's leaving hints, but only the attentive will see them. Psychologically, this behavior is rooted in self-preservation. Fear of rejection is universal, but when emotions run deep, fear intensifies. She's afraid that if she shows her love too direct, she might damage the fragile balance she has with you. She's afraid of losing you entirely if she exposes her vulnerability, and yet the very act of finding ways to be around you is her way of saying, without words, I care. I want to be here. I want you in my life. It's her heart reaching out quietly, carefully, and deliberately. Here's the subtle genius of this behavior. It allows her to test the waters without drowning in her own emotions. She can be near you, feel the connection, observe your reactions, and gauge your interest, all while keeping herself shielded. She's creating a safe space for her feelings to exist without fully exposing herself. And the more she engages in these subtle ways, the stronger the connection becomes. You might not realize it, but she's building emotional intimacy, layer by layer, day by day, without ever having to say a word. Most men misinterpret this entirely. They see her casual interactions and dismiss them as coincidences, friendship, or lightness. They fail to recognize the deliberate nature of her presence. But if you learn to observe carefully, you'll notice the patterns. She's there more often than chance allows. She's timing interactions so that they occur naturally yet consistently. She's weaving herself into your daily life, creating opportunities to be seen, heard, and appreciated. And if you pay attention, it's impossible to ignore the message beneath it all. She wants to be close, she wants to matter, and she's scared to admit it. Let me be clear, this isn't manipulation, this isn't game playing, this is fear meeting desire, vulnerability disguised as caution. She's not trying to control you, she's trying to protect herself while still expressing her feelings in the safest way she knows how. And this is why so many men miss it. They're looking for drama, for fireworks, for declarations that don't exist yet. They don't realize that true emotional signals are often subtle, quiet, and deliberately hidden, especially ally when fear is involved. And it's not just about physical presence. Her subtle ways of being around you extend to emotional space as well. She will share moments, thoughts, or jokes that only the two of you understand. She will remember your preferences, your routines, your little habits, and integrate herself into them in ways that feel almost accidental. But these are not accidents. Each moment is carefully orchestrated by her subconscious desire to stay connected while keeping her vulnerability in check. Here's the thing most men overlook. This kind of subtle presence is actually more powerful than overt declarations. When someone finds ways to be near you consistently, without needing attention or validation, it speaks to the depth of their attachment. It's a love that's patient, observant, and steady. It's a love that doesn't need loud affirmations to exist. And if you can recognize it, you gain access to the truth of her feelings long before words are ever spoken. This pattern of subtle presence also reveals something about her emotional intelligence. She understands the social dynamics, the risks, and the potential for misinterpretation. She chooses her actions carefully, not because she doubts her feelings, but because she values the connection too much to jeopardize it. She's playing a delicate game, balancing desire with caution, and in doing so, she's giving you the clearest sign that she's deeply invested, even if she's scared to admit it. Now, imagine if you start seeing these patterns clearly. Imagine recognizing the small ways she times her presence, the moments when she lingers just a little longer, the casual questions that are actually invitations. When you tune in, you'll start noticing her subtle cues. Everywhere, you'll see that she's been leaving invisible threads, connecting herself to your life in ways you never realized. And the moment you acknowledge these signs, you create a new dynamic, one where her fear begins to dissipate because he knows that someone sees her, understands her, and respects her feelings without forcing her to reveal everything at once. And this is the ultimate lesson. Love is not always loud. Sometimes it whispers through presence, through small, consistent acts that are almost imperceptible. The woman who is in love with you but scared to show it is creating a tapestry of connection, thread by thread, carefully, quietly, and patiently. She's giving you a gift, the chance to see her heart in ways that most people miss. And if you ignore it, you miss the truth entirely. So, The next time you notice her around you, texting, commenting, timing encounters, lingering just a little longer, don't dismiss it as coincidence. Pay attention, watch closely, observe the subtle patterns that speak louder than words, because in these quiet acts of presence lies her love, hidden but undeniable. And when you finally recognize it, you'll see that she's been trying to tell you all along, in the only way she feels as safe enough to express herself. Here's what I want you to remember. Presence is powerful, subtlety is not weakness, and love does not always need to be spoken to exist. When a woman finds ways to be around you consistently, carefully, and cautiously, she is revealing her heart in a way that few men ever learn to see. And the moment you understand this, you unlock the door to a connection that is deeper, truer, and far more meaningful than anything words alone could ever convey. The third sign that a younger woman is in love with you but scared to show it is something most men fail to notice entirely: her eyes. And when I say her eyes, I don't mean just glances. I mean the way her eyes speak the words she cannot say, the way they betray the feelings her lips refuse to reveal. Eyes are the windows to the soul. And when someone feels deeply but fears exposure, the truth shows itself there, in subtle flickers, in hesitation, in intensity that can't be hidden. Have you ever noticed how sometimes someone's gaze lingers just a fraction too long, or how their eyes follow you even when you think they're looking away? That is not accidental. It's instinct. It's the subconscious revealing what the conscious mind is too scared to admit. When a woman is in love but afraid, she will look at you in ways that are both daring and cautious. She's testing the water, gauging your reaction, and trying to communicate without saying a word. Her eyes are constantly negotiating between her desire to connect and her fear of vulnerability. This is what most men miss. They are waiting for verbal confirmation, for the bold statement, for the declaration that never comes. They overlook the signals, hidden in the eyes, the quick glances when you speak, the way her pupils dilate when she's near you, the fleeting softness in her expression when your attention shifts toward her. These are not coincidences. They are signals as old as humanity itself, reminding us that love and emotion cannot be contained by words. Psychologists call this nonverbal leakage. Even when we try to hide our feelings, our bodies, especially our eyes, betray us. Emotions are impossible to fully suppress, and love is one of the strongest forces that reveals itself unconsciously. When a woman's heart is racing because of you, her eyes reflect it. Her gaze becomes more attentive, more alive, more engaged. There's a spark there, almost imperceptible but undeniable once you learn to read it. This is how she communicates her feelings when fear prevents her from speaking. And here's the truth you need to understand. She doesn't need to stare at you to show interest. In fact, overt staring might feel too revealing for her. Instead, it's in the subtle ways her gaze interacts with yours, the quick glance that lingers just long enough to catch your attention, the way she looks at you when she thinks you're not looking, the softness in her eyes when she smiles at you. These are the moments where he art whispers its truth. She is revealing her love through observation, not confession, through presence, not proclamation. But there's more to it than just noticing her gaze. The intensity of her eyes often changes based on context. When she feels safe and your energy is positive, her eyes light up. There's warmth, curiosity, almost an unspoken admiration. When she senses distance or tension, they might flicker with uncertainty, hesitation, or even fear. Her eyes are constantly negotiating her feelings, balancing the desire to connect with the instinct to protect herself. And the more you learn to observe these subtle shifts, the more you begin to understand her emotional world without a single word being spoken. This is why learning to read the eyes is so powerful. Most men think they need words to understand love. They think gestures are enough, but gestures can be misinterpreted, words can be deceiving, and actions can be accidental. The eyes, however, are impossible to fake consistently. They reflect what the heart is feeling, moment by moment, even when she's desperately trying to hide it. And when you start paying attention, you'll see patterns emerge. You'll see how her eyes follow you, how they soften around you, how they shift in energy depending on your mood. These patterns are not random, they are proof of her hidden feelings. Here's something that shocks most men. The eyes often reveal more than the woman herself is aware of. She may chastise herself for looking too long or for feeling nervous in your presence. She may berate herself for showing emotion, thinking she is being too obvious or too vulnerable, but her eyes do not lie. The subconscious does not lie, and that's why this sign is so reliable. While words may be rehearsed, gestures may be masked, the eyes always give away what is real. They are her silent confession, her hidden love letter, written in a language older than words themselves. Understanding this requires a shift in perception. Why? I have to stop looking for overt expressions and start noticing subtle truths. Observe how her pupils react when you're talking. Notice the way her gaze seeks connection when she's nervous or withdrawn. Pay attention to those fleeting moments when her eyes meet yours and hold, even briefly. Those moments are not accidental. They are conscious windows into her emotions, moments where her heart is daring to reach out while her mind holds back. And here's the crucial part. When you recognize these signs in her eyes, your response matters. Don't confront, don't pressure, don't demand words. Simply acknowledge it internally. Understand that she's communicating love in the only way she feels safe enough to do. Your awareness itself creates a new kind of connection, one built on understanding, patience, and subtle acknowledgement. You are seeing her heart, and in return, you are giving her the courage to feel without fear of judgment or rejection. This is also why the eyes are such a powerful mirror of fear. Love and fear often coexist, especially when someone is scared to show their feelings. When she pulls back, her eyes will reflect hesitation. When she steps closer, they will reflect courage. And when she smiles at you while her eyes glimmer with warmth, it's proof that despite her fear, her heart is present. She is balancing her vulnerability with her desire for connection, and the eyes are where this internal negotiation is most visible. So, the next time you notice a fleeting glance, a lingering gaze, or a softness in her expression, don't dismiss it. Recognize it for what it is, a signal of deep, unspoken love, filtered through fear and careful self-protection. Most men overlook this entirely because they are focused on words, not presence. But the eyes speak a language older and more honest than any words ever could. They are subtle, they are truthful, and they are one of the clearest signs that a woman is emotionally invested in you, even if she's too scared to admit it aloud. Here's what I want you to take away. Love is not always declared. Sometimes it is revealed in the way someone looks at you, the moments when her gaze lingers just long enough for you to notice, the quiet expressions that convey everything she cannot say. Her eyes are her silent voice, and if you learn to see them, you will witness a truth that most men never understand. You will see love in its raw, authentic, unguarded form, and it will transform the way you perceive connection forever. And so, remember this, the eyes do not lie, they do not mask fear, they do not conceal longing, and they cannot hide love completely. When you start paying attention, when you truly observe, you will realize that the signs have been there all along. They have been waiting for someone perceptive enough to notice, someone willing to see what is often invisible. And when you finally do, you will understand something profound. Love is not always spoken, but it is always seen. The fourth sign, that a younger woman is in love with you but scared to show it, is one of the most subtle and yet most powerful. She remembers the smallest details about you, and I mean truly remembers, not the things you expect her to remember, not the obvious facts, but the tiny, seemingly insignificant moments, the details most people forget, the little fragments of your life that pass unnoticed by the world. This is where her love quietly asserts itself. Think about it. Most people don't remember casual conversations. Most people don't hold on to the small quirks and preferences of others because life moves fast, distractions are everywhere, and attention is limited. But she does. She listens when you speak. She notices when you reveal something personal. She stores it in a place in her mind that only she knows. And it's not accidental. It's not coincidence. It's a sign of deep emotional investment, of a heart that is paying attention, even when it doesn't dare to confess. This is where her love becomes almost invisible, yet undeniable. She might remember the song you played once in passing, the favorite book you mentioned in a conversation that seemed trivial, or the way you take your coffee in the morning. She recalls these details not to show off, not to manipulate, but because they matter to her. You matter to her. And in her mind, preserving these small fragments is a way of keeping you close, even if she's too scared to express it openly. Psychologically, this behavior speaks volumes. Humans are wired to care about what we focus on, and the act of remembering is a reflection of emotional significance. When someone truly cares about another person, the mundane becomes meaningful. Your routines, your habits, your small stories, they become part of her internal world. She integrates them into her thoughts because she values you on a level that words cannot capture. And when fear is present, this act of remembering becomes her silent way of showing love. This is also a measure of her attention and mindfulness. She's actively choosing to hold on to moments that most people discard. When she asks about your day or recalls something you mentioned months ago, it's not small talk. It's a demonstration that she is fully engaged in your life. She is listening with intention, observing with care, and storing every fragment of information that connects her to you. This is subtle, yes, but it's far more intimate than any verbal declaration could ever be. Most men fail to notice this because they are focused on overt gestures. They are looking for love, in grand expressions, in words spoken aloud, in obvious signs. But real emotional investment is often quiet, hidden in these details. It's in the way she can surprise you by recalling something trivial that had meaning to you, in the way she responds to your preferences without being told, in the way she seems to anticipate what you enjoy or need. These are all signs that she is emotionally attuned to you, that her mind, and heart are invested in your life even if her lips cannot admit it. Here's what makes this so profound. By remembering the smallest details, she's building a private connection that exists between the two of you, often unseen by the world. It's a secret intimacy, a silent acknowledgement of her feelings. And because she's scared to show her love openly, these memories are her way of maintaining closeness without risking exposure. Every fact she recalls, every little thing she notices is a thread tying her heart to yours, a subtle way of expressing affection that feels safe to her. Consider how this plays out in daily life. She might remember your favorite way to spend a Sunday and then casually suggest an activity you enjoy. She might recall a story from your childhood that you told her months ago and bring it up in conversation, making you feel seen in a way that surprises you. She might notice the smallest changes in your mood, your energy, or your expressions and respond in ways that make you feel understood, even if she doesn't say, "I care about you." Each of these moments is her love, expressed quietly, thoughtfully, and intentionally. What is striking about this sign is that it doesn't require verbal confirmation. You don't need her to say, "I love you." Feel it. You don't need her to send messages of affection or to announce her feelings. The evidence is in the details she preserves, in the way she connects the dots of your life in her mind. She is mapping your world carefully, storing it, and reflecting it back in subtle ways, all without revealing the intensity of her heart. And if you are attentive enough to see it, you will recognize the depth of her care long before she admits it aloud. This behavior also reveals something about her character and emotional intelligence. Remembering details requires attentiveness, patience, and empathy. It requires that she prioritizes your experiences, that she values your life enough to hold on to its fragments, and that she integrates your world into her own internal narrative. This is not casual interest. This is emotional investment disguised as mindfulness, filtered through caution and framed by fear of rejection. And the more consistent she is in this, the clearer the sign becomes that her heart is quietly committed. Now, imagine the effect of this on your perception. If you begin to notice the little things she remembers, you'll start to see her love in its raw, subtle form. You'll notice the patterns in how she listens, how she engages, how she anticipates your needs and preferences. You'll realize that she has been leaving invisible markers of care all along, and that each act of remembrance is a testament to the depth of her feelings. And once you recognize it, you will understand something most men never do. The strongest signals of love are often the quietest, and the smallest details can reveal the largest truths. It's also important to understand the courage behind this behavior. She is storing these details, recalling them, and using them to connect with you, even while fear restrains her from speaking her heart openly. Every act of memory is an act of bravery, a calculated risk that allows her to maintain closeness without exposing her vulnerability fully. And the more fear she feels, the more these subtle acts of remembrance become her primary language of love. So, pay attention to what she remembers, how she integrates those memories into her interactions, and how consistently she does this. Notice the patterns, the intentionality, the thoughtfulness behind even the smallest gestures. These are signs of a heart deeply invested, even when the mind is cautious. And when you start seeing these subtle cues clearly, you will realize that her love has been present all along, hidden in plain sight, waiting for someone perceptive enough to notice and value it. Here's the takeaway: the details she remembers are her love letters without ink. They are her quiet confessions, her silent affirmations, her way of saying, "I care," even when I cannot show it. If you learn to see them, you will recognize the depth of her feelings long before any words are spoken. And in that recognition, you create the possibility for a connection that is patient, authentic, and profoundly real. So never underestimate the power of the smallest details. Never dismiss the significance of her attention to your life. Love does not always arrive loudly. Sometimes it whispers in the memory of what matters to you. Sometimes it is hidden in the tiny fragments she chooses to preserve. And when you finally notice, when you finally understand, you will realize that her heart has been reaching out to you all along, quietly, patiently, and unmistakably. The fifth sign that a younger woman is in love with you but scared to show it is something most men misinterpret entirely. She pulls away when she feels fear. And I don't mean she loses interest. I don't mean she's indifferent. I mean that her heart is invested so deeply that her mind instinctively tries to protect it. This is one of the most misunderstood signs in the entire spectrum of love, and if you misread it, you risk overlooking the very intensity of her feelings. Fear and love often exist side B. Y side, more intertwined than most people realize. When someone feels strongly but fears vulnerability, their instincts are to retreat, to hide, to create distance. It's not a lack of care, it's the opposite. The deeper the love, the greater the fear. She pulls back not because she is indifferent, but because her emotions are too powerful, too fragile, and too exposed to risk being hurt. And this is a crucial insight. Fear is the shadow of love. Where there is withdrawal, there is attachment, and where there is hesitation, there is desire. Think about the moments when she seems distant, when her presence is fleeting, when her messages come slowly or her words feel guarded. Most men see this and assume disinterest. They assume she doesn't care. But if you look closely, you'll realize that her withdrawal is a signal of her internal struggle, a battle between her feelings and her fear. She wants to connect, she wants to engage, she wants to be close, but she's terrified of rejection, misunderstanding, or losing what she already values. Her distance is not a denial of love, it is love filtered through caution. Psychologically, this is rooted in self-preservation. Humans are wired to protect their hearts from perceived threats. When emotions are intense, the mind calculates risks even when the heart wants to leap forward. She is aware of her feelings, but she is also aware of the potential consequences. She fears that if she reveals herself too fully, she could face disappointment, embarrassment, or heartbreak. And so she creates space. She tests boundaries. She disappears momentarily to regain control over her vulnerability. And this, paradoxically, is one of the clearest signs that she cares. Here's the subtlety most men miss. When she pulls away, she's still observing you. Her retreat is rarely total. She doesn't vanish from your life, she merely shifts her proximity to maintain emotional safety. She watches your reactions, gauges your interest, and calculates the risk of re-engaging. This is not indifference. This is care balanced with fear. And the moment she senses reassurance, patience, and understanding from you, she inches closer again, often with an intensity that surprises those who fail to notice the patterns. Her withdrawal also serves as a test, though not consciously. She is testing her own courage, testing the strength of your interest, and testing whether she can trust you with her emotions. It's a delicate dance between vulnerability and self-protection. And the more attuned you are to this, the more you understand that her distance is a message in itself, a silent communication of the depth of her feelings and the fragility of her heart. Now, consider how this manifests in daily life. She might delay responses, act preoccupied, or seem hesitant when you suggest spending time together. She might become quieter, more reflective, or even slightly guarded in her interactions. And yet, even in these moments of apparent distance, there are signs of connection. She still engages, still notices, still responds, sometimes with subtle cues that reveal more than words ever could. Her withdrawal is temporary, situational, and meaningful. It is a reflection of her inner emotional landscape, not a rejection of your presence or significance. What makes this sign so profound is that it requires interpretation beyond the surface. You cannot read it with assumptions or impatience. You need observation, empathy, and understanding. You need to recognize that fear is a natural companion to love, that retreat is not rejection, and that hesitation is often a precursor to trust. When you interpret her withdrawal correctly, you gain insight into the intensity of her feelings, the depth of her attachment, and the courage she summons to navigate her vulnerability. There is also a philosophical dimension to this. Love and fear are inseparable. To experience one fully is to encounter the other. The deeper the affection, the more threatening the potential loss. And this is why her moments of distance are not a sign of absence, but a sign of authenticity. She is not performing, not manipulating, not disinterested. She is human. She is balancing her desire to connect with her need to protect herself. And the more sensitive you are to this, the more you can meet her where she is, rather than where you wish she were. Here's what most men fail to understand. The act of pulling away is often a form of self-care. She is managing her emotional exposure, giving herself time to process, and creating space to ensure that her actions align with her feelings. This is not weakness, it is wisdom. She knows that rushing into vulnerability without safety could be destructive. She knows that love is most powerful when it is intentional, measured, and reciprocated. And by stepping back, she is preserving her heart so that when she does move forward, it is with sincerity, depth, and intention. Recognizing this pattern changes everything. Instead of misinterpreting her distance as disinterest, you see it as a sign of emotional intensity. You understand that her fear is proof of her investment. You realize that her temporary withdrawal is not a door closing, but a window into her internal experience, revealing how deeply she feels and how carefully she navigates her emotions. And when you respond with patience, awareness, and subtle reassurance, you invite her to gradually reveal what she has been holding back. This dynamic also underscores the importance of emotional intelligence in relationships. The man who understands this does not react with frustration, anger, or impatience. He observes, he respects boundaries, he notices patterns, and he responds with empathy. He recognizes that her love is present even when it is masked by fear. And in doing so, he creates a space where her heart can safely unfold, where hesitation transforms into trust, and where the unspoken connection becomes undeniable. So, when you see her pull away, pause, observe, reflect. Understand that what appears as distance is often the language of love filtered through caution. Her retreat is not the end of connection. It is a test of patience, a measure of trust, and an invitation to deeper understanding. And if you respond with awareness, your attentiveness alone becomes a bridge that allows her to gradually step closer, revealing the depth of her feelings without fear of judgment or rejection. The lesson here is profound. Love is not always linear, and affection is not always loud. Sometimes the strongest signals of love are found in hesitation, retreat, and cautious steps backward. Sometimes the heart communicates in silence, in absence, in subtle patterns that require observation and insight to decode. And the man who learns to see this, who understands that fear and love coexist, who respects boundaries while acknowledging emotional depth, gains access to a connection that is rare, authentic, and profoundly meaningful. Here's the truth to take away. Her distance is not denial. Her fear is not indifference. Her hesitation is not rejection. Behind every step she takes away is a heart that is deeply invested, a soul that is quietly attached, and a desire that is strong yet carefully guarded. And when you recognize this, when you act with understanding rather than assumption, you unlock a level of intimacy that most people never experience, a love that is patient, intentional, and unshakably real.